India had just made history, joining a select group of nations to successfully land a spacecraft on the Moon. The achievement itself was monumental, celebrated worldwide, but what came next would eclipse every triumph humanity had ever known. As Chandrayaan-3 settled onto the pale, cratered surface, an unusual stillness spread across the landing zone. Mission Control anticipated routine readings, soil density, subsurface scans, and temperature data. Every system performed as expected, every calculation aligned with predictions. The Pragyan rover began its careful arcs across the lunar regolith, its movements deliberate, slow, and precise. On the surface, everything appeared ordinary. But beneath, something was stirring, something that had gone unnoticed for millennia. It started subtly. A tiny anomaly in the subsurface scan, a faint distortion, barely detectable among the noise. Engineers initially dismissed it as a minor glitch, a transient sensor error. Yet, as minutes passed, the anomaly intensified. What had seemed insignificant grew into a sharp, symmetrical irregularity, a structure that defied natural lunar formation. The rover had encountered something extraordinary, a hidden system, vast, precise, and intentionally arranged. Gravity readings began to diverge from expectations. Radar pulses sank into a void deeper than any known lunar cavity. Soil temperatures dropped sharply within defined boundaries, as if the ground itself was engineered to absorb or manipulate energy. Thermal sensors, gravimeters, and electromagnetic instruments all told the same story. This was no ordinary geological formation. Something massive, dense, and deliberate lay beneath the Moon's surface. But the mystery deepened. The anomaly emitted faint magnetic pulses, steady and rhythmic, repeating every 16 minutes. A heartbeat beneath the stone. Scientists worldwide were captivated and uneasy. Was it a natural anomaly, a quirk of lunar formation no model had ever predicted, or the trace of intelligence older than human memory? Pragyan continued mapping the area, revealing more incredible details. Radar imaging suggested branching networks of corridors, polygonal chambers, and patterns embedded in the rock. Dust floated briefly above the surface, defying gravity. Light shimmered as though bent by an unseen force. Wheel traction readings changed, hinting at variations in soil composition. Every measurement, every subtle change pointed to deliberate design. Even more unsettling, the structure reacted. The rhythmic pulses intensified as the rover drew closer, responding in a mechanical, resonant way. It was active, alive in some sense, aware of its visitor. Scientists began piecing together a staggering possibility. This was a hidden lunar architecture, far older than human civilization, resonating with energy, order, and intelligence. Orbital imagery had failed to detect the anomaly, meaning it had remained hidden for eons. The structure absorbed radar and laser sweeps with perfect efficiency, behaving as if constructed to remain unseen. Could it predate the Moon itself? Could it be evidence of a civilization, or a force, long forgotten, spanning the early solar system? As Pragyan explored further, new phenomena emerged. Harmonic vibrations layered atop the primary magnetic pulse, brief but highly ordered, like sequences of a deliberate code. Scientists realized this was more than a geological oddity. It was a system, engineered, functioning, and enduring. The Moon was no longer just a barren satellite. It was a vault, a message, a mystery waiting silently for humanity to discover. The implications were staggering. Humanity had glimpsed something previously unimaginable, forces or intelligence that predated recorded history, hidden beneath the Moon, our closest celestial neighbor. What had always been familiar, a pale, silent rock in the night sky, was now revealed as a repository of secrets, a testament to a design far older and more deliberate than any human hand could have created. The textbooks, the models, the centuries of lunar research, all seemed suddenly incomplete, inadequate, almost naive. Mission control fell silent, the room tense as every engineer, scientist, and observer absorbed the scale of what had been uncovered. This was no simple anomaly. The harmonic vibrations, the magnetic pulses, the perfectly structured void beneath the regolith, all pointed to an intelligence operating on a scale beyond comprehension. It was as if the moon itself had been silently waiting, a sentinel, watching the growth of a species that had only just begun to reach for the stars. The heartbeat beneath the lunar surface remained steady, rhythmic, and unyielding, a pulse that seemed indifferent to the passage of time on Earth. Each beat carried a weight beyond comprehension, as if it measured not hours or minutes, but millennia, an enduring presence that had witnessed the rise and fall of stars, the birth and death of civilizations, long before humans even walked the Earth. Mission Control watched in silence, technicians frozen as the instruments recorded the impossible. The pulse was neither chaotic nor random. It was precise, deliberate, a signature of intelligence whose scale and patience dwarfed humanity. It was a message and a challenge rolled into one. The moon was no longer merely a satellite. It was a sentinel, an observer, and now, a judge of humanity's first cautious steps beyond their home planet. As the Pragan rover continued its careful approach, its array of sensors picked up anomalies more subtle than anyone had imagined. Tiny shifts in gravitational fields hinted at unseen masses beneath the surface, while faint electromagnetic ripples suggested a network of energy flowing with intent. Even light itself seemed to bend oddly around the cavity, creating geometric distortions that shimmered and vanished with a blink. Dust lifted and floated in near-zero gravity, forming delicate, ephemeral patterns, as though invisible hands were guiding it. Rocks appeared slightly displaced, rearranged in ways too orderly to be natural. Every observation screamed that the structure was aware, responsive, and active. Scientists around the world worked feverishly, analyzing telemetry, radar scans, and electromagnetic readings. Theories ranged from ultra-dense mineral formations to ancient alien machinery, yet none could explain the structure's deliberate symmetry or the consistent rhythmic pulse. Some suggested a sentinel, a device left to observe and protect, waiting silently for any species capable of reaching the lunar surface. Others feared it was something far older, something conscious, something that had shaped the very formation of the moon itself. Questions multiplied. Had it always been there? How many civilizations had come and gone unnoticed? Were humans the first to be truly seen, or just the latest in a long line of cosmic spectators? Hours stretched into the lunar night. Observatories around the globe trained their instruments on the coordinates, each revealing new strangeness. Thermal patterns defied the expected lunar heating cycles. Magnetic anomalies pulsed in perfect synchronization, creating harmonic sequences that suggested mathematics, intent, and intelligence. Every observation reinforced the same terrifying realization: humanity was not alone. They had stumbled upon a system that operated on scales of thought, energy, and time far beyond human comprehension. The moon had become more than a celestial body. It was a vault, a living archive, a mystery older than Earth itself. Yet the pulse remained unwavering. Steady. Rhythmic. Patient. Watching. Waiting. It was both terrifying and mesmerizing. Humanity had looked up at the moon for millennia, imagining it silent, inert, unchanging. Now they understood how little they truly knew. The stars had been silent witnesses, yes, but the moon had been awake. And as human eyes traced its cratered surface that night, sparkling under Earth's distant sunlight, the question lingered. Had they been noticed for the first time, or was this a test, a trial, a warning from an intelligence whose reach stretched beyond the solar system? Every beat of the lunar pulse seemed to echo across the cosmos, a reminder that even in the vast silence of space, someone, or something, was always listening. Humanity had arrived at the threshold of a truth far older and more profound than anything they had dared imagine, and in that threshold lay both promise and peril. The moon was no longer just a satellite. It was a vault. A sentient monument. A mystery. And beneath its surface, the heartbeat continued, steady, rhythmic, and eternal, waiting for humanity to take the next step, or perhaps, testing whether they were ready at all.